welcome to the Qualified Gamer Guys podcast. We're on number 4 already, Neil. Can you believe it?
I can't, Steve. I really can't.
Time flies when you're having fun. So just to introduce ourselves, my name's Steve. I'll be your host today, and with me, as always, is Neil. How you doing today, Neil?
I'm doing great, Steve. How are you doing?
You ready to talk about some games?
I'm so ready to talk about some games.
Well, that's a shame because we're changing it to a movies podcast starting right now.
Oh my God. 50 Shades of Grey, Steve. Let me tell you.
Oh, let me tell you, Neil, that was quite a film. I saw it 3 times in a row.
Oh, only 3 times? Ah.
Yeah. All right. So let's start it off with this week in video game release history, our favorite segment. And, I'll explain it once more because we're always gaining new listeners. Pretty much we look back at this week in, years past, something at least 3 years old. We pick out a game that stands out to us that was released. So this week's game was released on February 16th, 2001, so 14 years ago, and it's Final Fantasy IX. And at this point, I'm passing it over to Neil because I've never played a single Final Fantasy game in my life. So, Neil, why do you like Final Fantasy IX? What's it about?
Final Fantasy IX is considered one of the worst Final Fantasies there are. But
Good. I'm glad we picked it.
But it was my first RPG that I ever played. So it was the game that got me into all the other Final Fantasies and Suikoden, and it's what led me to Kingdom Hearts as well, which we have a mutual love for.
More than a mutual love.
So you don't even get any of the Final Fantasy jokes and characters in Kingdom Hearts.
No, but I don't know. I still enjoy Kingdom Hearts for what it was. I know Yuffie and Leon and Cloud just from Kingdom Hearts. And
Leon, that's a Kingdom Hearts thing. I don't know why they changed his name. It's Squall.
Really?
Which is dumb. That's why they changed it to Leon. Now I know because it's dumb. His real name.
Well, I know those characters from Kingdom Hearts, and I love those characters, and Kingdom Hearts made me, go and look up who they were, but at the time, I despised turn-based RPGs, but I love turn-based RPGs now, so I really have to go back and play a couple, Final Fantasies, and I feel like 7's the one everyone always tells me to go play, so.
Yeah, 7 is supposed to be one of the best ones. There's always arguments between 7 and 8, but we're here to talk about 9. So
9, yeah.
Let me talk about 9.
What's particular about 9?
So 9 after 7.
9. I feel German. We're very negative Germans, just saying no to everything.
So 7 and 8 were kind of not necessarily in the future, but very modern day or in some sort of dystopia like that. And then Final Fantasy 9 was more like fantasy, very fable. There was that's when all the I'm sure you've seen the little, they're called Moogles, the little pig things. Yeah, that's
they're in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, right. So that's they were all over in Final Fantasy 9, and it was they weren't people, they were caricatures. So they were smaller. So that's why people they thought it was more kiddish, which it isn't really. But after you had these 2 great games where these really deep and serious storylines, you had Final Fantasy 9 come out, and they were all these characters were not munchkins, but very small, kind of they were. I don't know why they just weren't regular people, and they had that graphical power at that point. After 8,
so this was. I mean, I kind of lose it. These are 3D characters, right? They're not sprites.
No. These are 3D characters, but still on a 2D background. It still hasn't made that switch yet. But Final Fantasy 7 is they're almost like polygons. It's really bad. Final Fantasy 8 basically looks like RuneScape. If you could just imagine, it literally the faces look like that. It's really bad. But the Final Fantasy 8's animations, their CGI or whatever, that's it's almost as good as Final Fantasy 10. It's really on point, and that blew away so many other games at the time. So 9 had that ability, and then the story it didn't get serious until because these were always on 4 discs, so it didn't get serious until disc 3. So the first 2 discs.
Wait. 4 discs.
Every Final Fantasy had 4 discs.
PS2 discs, 4 discs.
It came in. So, and the first one, and it always went almost in this order, where the first one was always an intro, and it always had a cliffhanger. The second one would be the meat of the game. The third one, things would get really serious, and the fourth one was always the final castle with the boss.
Yeah,
it's almost always how it went. So Final Fantasy 9, it was really a fun game, and I thought it was an amazing game at the time because I never played a turn-based game before. And after I played, I'm like, I have some other ones I'm going to play, and I realized every game I've played since has just put Final Fantasy IX lower and lower and lower on the totem pole.
Yeah. Well, did they have a job system, Final Fantasy IX, or was it past that already?
Explain. Do you mean like the how
Like,
people have classes or whatever?
well, I'm saying because like, so basically, my only kind of experience, so other than Kingdom Hearts, my only kind of experience in Final Fantasy franchise is Bravely Default, which is it's made by Square, and it's like basically, I forget which one they call it, but it's like this is just like Final Fantasy before it started getting bad. You know, like it's like like this would be. I think they place it after five or something, and in that game you have a job system. So for each person in your party, you like pick a job for them, and jobs being like black mage, white mage, red mage, like all that stuff,
Okay.
fighter, swordsman, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then basically, you can switch them at any time you want and everything. And I don't know, like, is it the same thing in 9, or is 9 a game where, all the characters have their pre-made class basically, and like there is no changing of classes?
They're all pre-made classes, and it's very strict. And
Okay.
I think that's part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, this is coming after 7 and 8, which are considered some of the best games in the series.
And 9 sucks.
And and in 8 you could change literally everything. Each character had a blank, like they might have a little higher strength stat, but
okay.
you could switch all their spells around. You could switch all, like, everything was based on you like summon monsters and you attach these monsters to them, and those carry their stats. So you could put a monster on any character, and then it brings the stats with them. So you could switch it around. But 9 had very specific classes. It was like you had the fighter, you had the thief, you had the witch, you had the black mage, like you're saying. And and it kind of makes it tough because based off the story, sometimes you'll lose that character, and you're like, all right, well, I don't have a mage now for like 2 hours of the game. Like, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
So it was restricting, and I don't know. It's definitely not my favorite. For some people, it is because it's so far out. Like, you can compare like 7, 8, and 10, and even like 12 and all them. Like they're all kind of the same, and then 9 is just like, I think 9 they were trying to go back to the roots, like the early ones, and it didn't quite work. But I mean, that's just me. I know some people really love it. It's what got me into RPG, so it's good enough to get me hooked on them at least.
Yeah, well, I one of my favorite parts about Bravely Default is like that, that strategy of, well, what kind of jobs I'm going to do, which one works well with which. You always have to have a healer in your group. If you have a black mage that can do an offensive magic, then you're risking the fact that you don't have a white mage that can do defensive magic, stuff like that. So I don't know, and it's a game you should play because, as we'll be mentioning later, you're a proud owner of a new 3DS, are you not?
Oh, I am indeed.
So Final Fantasy IX, would you suggest someone plays it?
Yeah, I would. It's worth playing. It's just it's not. It might blow you away, but. And it's got some like twists in there and stuff like that. And I do know people really like it, and it is their favorite. But if let's say you've played 7 or 8, or let's say you've played 13 because that's what it's on now, and 10, and you're like, oh, maybe I want to play other ones. I'd be like, well, maybe skip it and go back to like 8 or 7. But then it's really, for me at least, it's really hard to go back to the worst graphics. Like, it's very tough for me to play.
I feel like you're in that bet in the game like that. Does it really matter? It's turn based, You basically you look at the menus. You look at the menus.
It can be tough. It can like just move. Like Final Fantasy VII is like almost top down, like 3D polygons on 2D background. Like it's a very, I don't know. Yeah. I'm very
I've seen gameplay of Final Fantasy VII. I know what it looks like.
Yeah, I am happy to admit I am very shallow when it comes to graphics on games. You're all looks, no personality, is what you're telling me. I am indeed. That explains how we ended up together, Neil. So, and then I'll ask you this before we move on. Have you ever played, this is such an aside, but have you ever played Chrono Trigger? I think I've played Chrono Cross. Is that the second one? It's the second one, which is, Chrono Trigger is considered like one of the best games ever. Chrono Cross is just considered like a video game. So just a video game. Apparently you played the wrong one, but I've always wanted to play Chrono Trigger. Yeah, you get me crossed up here, Neil. I like it. So I played Chrono Cross, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
It's a very complex game, and it has a really cool magic system that has to do with like you can cast one spell a turn, and then it takes like 3 turns to get it back. There's something like that. It was very. And what happened, which happens in a lot of long games, I played it a really long time, put a lot of hours into it, and then I couldn't play it for a little bit.
Yeah,
like
and then you got lost where you were. And
no clue. Like I cannot for the life of me. I've read walkthroughs. I've tried to pinpoint it. It's like it's hopeless. I've gone back multiple times, cannot do it. So I
call that the Skyrim effect. For like if you leave Skyrim for like a week and then like you come back to it, you're just like, what the hell was I doing? Where the hell am I?
Yeah,
the game's ruined. Like you're like not immersed in the story anymore because you spend 2 hours figuring that out. So
yeah, it ruined it. So that's I never beat it, but I don't know. I liked it. I guess I should play Chrono Trigger and play the real game.
Yeah, you should. And that one's like is sprite based, so those graphics won't bother you because it's 16-bit. So it's still.
Or will it?
Well, Neil, that's your own problem. All right, so Final Fantasy IX. As we are recording this on the 16th, so 14. I can do math. Years ago.
An engineer. Well, you are an engineer.
I am an engineer, and after that, I'm gonna have to give back my degree. But 14 years ago, Final Fantasy IX came out, much to the dismay, apparently. So yeah, go play it or not. I don't know. We can't tell you what to do. All right, so let's talk about games that weren't released 14 years ago. Let's talk about games that are being released this week. What do we got? What do we look like we got this week? Anything exciting, or was it kind of like a
Well, speaking of being shallow for graphics and sprites and whatnot, the most perfect game for me is coming out, apparently. Dead or Alive 5.
Oh!
Last Round is coming out.
This is like the 15th Dead or Alive 5.
Yes.
You realize that, right?
It's really... So, I've never played Dead or Alive for the longest time until last year, and I played one version of Dead or Alive 5 because there's so many.
This is the fighting game, right? Because I always get Dead or Alive... Like
there's no volleyball.
Yeah,
there's no volleyball in this
I always
game.
get confused, like if it's actually a volleyball game or if they like spin off to do that.
So that's when I played it. I was like, I don't know what to expect. I think it's gonna be a really dumb fighting game. And I played it, and it's actually become one of my favorite fighting games there are. I know you like. What was that?
I said you pig.
So I know you like the 2D kind where it's like. Injustice or
I like single playing fighters like Injustice or Mortal Kombat 9.
Right. I like the 3D
fighters. So like a Soul Calibur.
Exactly. Soul Calibur is Soul Calibur 2 is one of my favorite fighting games of all time.
2. Why 2?
It's just the one that I first played, and I played it with my friend, and they had like this really cool story mode.
Yeah.
That would take literally hours. We spent easily over 100 hours. Mm-hmm. And after you beat the whole thing, it does that stupid tricky thing where it's like, oh, you beat it. You should do it again now on extra hard mode. And we did it.
You did it anyway.
And so it was just a lot of fun. At one point, we played it in school. There was like, this is a sidetrack, but there was a day we had a Mardi Gras party, and we got to bring video games in, and we just played it in class.
Fat Tuesday is tomorrow.
Exactly. So it is topical.
As of today.
So I was playing it at school, and not a single person could beat me, which is probably the saddest thing in my life.
Wow, Neil.
10 people challenged me. I just Soul Calibur 2, man. But anyway, so that's
some people were on Bourbon Street seeing tits by giving away some beads. Meanwhile, you were sitting in school doing the Soul Calibur thing.
To be fair, man, I got out of class and I didn't got to just drink soda and eat cookie cake all day.
Yeah, well, that's true.
All right,
what was cookie cake?
Cookie cake?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what it is?
No, I don't. What is a cookie cake? Is it just like a big cookie the size of a cake?
Yeah, and you just cut it up. I mean, that's pretty much what you do. It's just a big cookie.
Sounds about right.
So, Dead or Alive 5. So
we are far off of Dead or Alive 5.
Every topic, we just immediately shoot off someplace else. So, Dead or Alive 5. I really enjoy it. I was shocked by how good the fighting mechanics in a Dead or Alive game really is. And I know that's like, you just don't expect that. And so I have a lot of fun with it. And I'm actually waiting to purchase one of them. Since there are like so many that keeps like coming out. And this might be the one I might actually pick up. I'm not sure yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, after you get it, they have like every week they come out with another costume or skin
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can get that's like $2. It's like,
DLC,
oh, get the
DLC,
red bikini,
DLC.
get the blue
Oh,
bikini.
oh, well, I
That's
do like I
literally
do like red bikinis.
that is all it is. But I'm excited. I think if you haven't played a Dead or Alive game, you shouldn't judge it. It's actually a really fun fighting game, and it's kind of worth. This should be the last round. This should be the last time it comes out before they go on to Dead or Alive 6. But we'll see.
Well, unless it's Last Round Part 2, or like
Oh,
Rebirth, you know,
Dead
that's
or
a
Alive rematch or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, Last Round. Um, all right. Well, you can also see why I think it would be the volleyball game because there's like rounds of volleyball or whatever. So, sorry. Uh, Neil, let me ask you a question. What the hell is Hand of Fate?
Hand of Fate is a game that is also coming out this week. If you,
Oh, it's a game. All right,
it's a game. So the reason it's on here because we only highlight the really good games, as you'll find out as we keep going through this list of amazing games. Hand of Fate is weird in the sense that it's a card game. It's essentially trying to be, I think, Dungeons and Dragons, and so you're sitting at a table,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a computer controlled. I don't know. It's like a fortune teller. They look like a fortune teller, and they put cards down, and it'll be like, there's a chest. Do you open the chest? And then you hit like open chest, and it's like, oh, a skeleton popped out. And then it zooms in, and the cards come, and then it's like skeletons will pop up, and your character will be there, and you take control of your character, and then you fight the skeletons. I think it's not a hack and slash, but it's not turn based, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching some of the gameplay. The fighting doesn't look too good, but it was just kind of this weird, worth mentioning if you're kind of into Dungeons and Dragons and you're into those kind of card games where it's
How'd you
all
know? Like Magic?
yeah, like stuff like it's not so magic-y as the sense that it's like a dungeon crawler, I think, because you're supposed to be like, oh, you can take a left
Yeah,
or right. Which way are you gonna go? You want left. Oh, there's a princess. Oh, she turned into like Medusa. You turned to stone. Like it's kind of one of those things, I think.
it kind of sounds like Etrian Odyssey, the game. I don't know if you've ever played any of those
I haven't
games.
played it.
It's like a first person like dungeon crawler, and like it's kind of like you're first person. You're on the grid basically, and you're just like going through. And it's their DS games. On the bottom screen, you draw your own map because there's no map. So you write an X here. You're like, oh, there's a guy there or whatever, and like you make a left here. There's a chest there. And like basically like you just take a step and something pops up. Kind of sounds what you're talking about there. Like you have the option like, oh, straight, left, or right, and you have no idea what's in either direction. So
Yeah, so that's kind of what it is. It's just a cool game that if you're into that kind of thing, you might want to check it out. It's trying to do something different at least, so it's worth mentioning.
yeah, well, I mean, something to look into. It kind of, I mean, really, we're kind of in a lull right now for games. So maybe Hand of Fate, something someone out there might be into. Not
Could be
me.
game of the year. You
It
never
could
know.
be. It could be. Any game could be. Got ya. Well, got why.
Got ya.
Oh,
Got
gotcha.
ya.
Gotcha.
Oh god.
All right, let's talk about some good games now. Starting with Kirby and the Rainbow Curse.
It's a great
Uh,
lead. Tell me about this game.
Coming out Wii U. All right, so this is like it's a new Kirby game, and I'll tell you up front, I don't like Kirby games. I never really have. I don't like plan on playing this one, but it does look pretty interesting. So it's got a really cool aesthetic to it, in that everything in the game is made from clay, or it looks like it's made from clay, and it actually does. Like if you watch the videos, like they did a really good job. Like Kirby looks like he's got the clay, and like when he jumps and he lands, he gets some like indentation or whatever because like the clay like gets smushed. It's cool. It's cool. It's really cool, and like like it's like played in a diorama. It's like the clouds are hanging by string or whatever, kind of like a Little Big Planet kind of thing.
I got you. That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool looking. But so every Kirby game kind of has like it's like shtick. So this one is using the gamepad. You can like Kirby will be rolling, and then like you can draw a path, kind of like Line Rider, and he'll just follow that path. So you like draw the path to go past enemies. So like if you draw like walls next to each other, parallel, going up to the ceiling, he'll like wall jump back and forth to get to the top of the level. So
Okay.
you're in some levels you're controlling Kirby directly, or in others you're just drawing for him so he can go through the level, defeat everyone, and collect all the collectibles. So that's kind of cool. It looks fun. Comes out on Friday, which is, if you're into Nintendo games, all their first party big games usually come out on Fridays.
Oof. I did not know that. So
Really?
clearly I'm not
Yeah.
the Nintendo fan.
Yeah, you got your 3DS in the mail.
Soon, very soon. Next, I'll be surrounded by amiibos and.
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, last Friday, Majora and the new 3DS came out, and then obviously you wouldn't know this, but I'm looking forward to it. Codename Steam comes out on a Friday too, so
to be fair,
they like those Fridays.
Yeah, but that's how games should be released. They should come out on a Friday.
Yeah,
So I don't know why they come out on a Tuesday or whatever. It doesn't make sense to me, but movies do that too. It's either a Tuesday or a Friday. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. It's weird. But yeah, it looks cool. It looks like something that might be worth playing if you're a Kirby fan. I've just never liked Kirby. I like 2D platformers, but Kirby's just a little.
I feel like Kirby is. If there's any game that does the same thing over and over, it's Kirby. Like it's always the same thing, and then there's just one little feature to go. Oh, this time you can draw a line and he'll follow it, or this time you can have two people playing. Like I don't know. I played Kirby way back in the day when I had a Game Boy Advance. It was like the first game I had for it. And I played it all the time, but that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. So, I won't be playing it, but we'll see. I'll be interested to see how it scores because a lot of reviewers kind of harp on these games because they're so easy, but like I feel like that's dumb because when you review a game, you have to keep the market in mind. The market for this game is no one above like age 15, so
yeah,
who cares if it's easy?
Yeah, like there's Kirby fans, but then it's still like you get a kid. Kid or
the whole game looks like it's made of clay. Like, what are you expecting? Like, like the hardest game ever. So I'll be interested to see. I like Nintendo, and obviously I want all their games to do well, even if I'm not interested in playing them, just because that company needs it. They get no third-party support. Like when they release a game, they need it to do well. So we'll be talking more Nintendo later, especially because I'm deep into Majora's Mask right now.
Deep,
like so deep. But after our next game on the list here is something that I plan on playing. I know you're not. It's the Order 1886, which is also a Friday release. So February 20th.
Wait, let me ask you something. Do you think that releasing on a Friday to be like a movie because they're going for that very theatrical kind of thing?
I never thought about that, but that's a good point because like the whole game's in widescreen. The whole time they've said like, hey, like this game's basically like playing a movie, and it's only 5 hours long. So
it's the last Lord of the Rings movie.
Yeah, that's not that much longer than the movie. So, I don't know. That's a good point. I think it looks cool. I think the gameplay looks cool, but I'm really concerned that there's not going to be enough of it, and I'm considering waiting on it now.
Oh boy!
But just because I'm not going to be around this weekend to play it anyway.
Yeah, I got you.
And I'm pretty engrossed in like Majora's Mask right now. Like I don't need something to play, so I might wait on it. And then, as we'll be mentioning later, I last minute went against Evolve, so this would be 2 games in a row that I was planning on purchasing and just said, yeah, you know what, forget it.
Yeah, I mean, I've told you from the beginning, since the first trailer I've seen of the Order, even the last one, which is the best trailer yet, I still have no interest in it. I think it could be a good game.
Yeah.
I think their story, I could be wrong, I think it's going to end up being very cliche, and there's going to be very obvious twists, and it's not going to be nearly as engaging as they think it's going to be, and it's going to be like, all right, that was an okay story with okay gameplay, and then there'll be like 1 or 2 really cool things to it, but I know they're really, really going for the atmosphere, and sometimes that's enough. Sometimes people they'll just try to find all the collectibles because they just like being in that game so much, and maybe they'll extend it. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to say for sure. I'm definitely not going to get it. I could be wrong. Maybe for me, this is going to be a game kind of like when it's $30 on sale.
Yeah,
I'll probably pick it up and play it, but I don't want to. I got other things going on. I don't need to pick up this game for $60 right away.
I'll see. I'm gonna, now that I'm not gonna be around this weekend anyway to play it, I'll probably see how it does review wise, and make a decision then. I mean, if reviewers come in and kill it, and they're like, "Hey, like this game's great, but it's literally like 3 hours of gameplay," then I'm not gonna drop 60 on it. But we'll see. I'm still interested in the game. Like the story looks cool to me, and like the gameplay looks fun. But if there's not enough of it there, then I can't spend $60 on it.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. Well, I guess we'll talk about that a bit more.
Mm-hmm. So, All right, and last one we have here is Trivial Pursuit Live.
Live with an exclamation point.
Live. Why'd you put this on the list, Neil? What?
This is the game that I've been waiting my whole life for. That's
Okay.
I hate.
I love
Trivial
Trivial
Pursuit.
I love
hate it.
Trivial Pursuit.
I can't stand it.
You know
it's
why?
the worst.
Because I always win.
Yeah, I'm sure. And you know what's not fun? Being as pretentious as you can in a room full of other people, knowing random
why
facts.
is that not fun? I don't understand. What do you mean that's not fun, Neil? I've based my entire life on that.
It's so like, oh man, I don't know. I hate it. I've always hated it. I've never liked trivia games. Like I don't watch Jeopardy. I don't.
Really? I watch Jeopardy almost every night.
Oh, I totally believe that, Steve.
I love Jeopardy. It's fun.
Oh, God.
I want to be on Jeopardy.
Oh boy. Did I tell you that my friend's brother was on Jeopardy?
Yeah, how do you do?
I don't remember. Since I don't remember, he clearly didn't do that well.
My high school physics teacher was on Jeopardy. He actually won one week. He lost the second week, but he won the first week, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, I was a sophomore. I was a sophomore, and I didn't have him for 2 more years, but I knew who he was.
Okay.
You know, I had him as a teacher senior year, but it's cool. But yeah,
Trivial Pursuit
Live. Welcome to the Koalafied Jeopardy guys podcast. Oh yeah, and we wonder why no one listens.
Yeah, we gotta stay on track. Let's move on.
All right, so Trivial Pursuit Live. I guess the main reason for including this is in the prior weeks we've mentioned Risk and Monopoly and a couple other ones. So I guess that's part of those. So if you like Trivial Pursuit, I do. Actually, I mean, I could see myself purchasing this and like playing it with my family.
Yeah, like that's what they're going.
We love
basically.
Trivial Pursuit.
It's like, hey, instead of we don't have a game board anymore.
Yeah,
just buy it on the TV. Everyone will sit around.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to like hunch over a board. One person can have the controller and just control it all. So like, I get it. It makes sense. It's not like you're gonna buy it and play it by yourself. Well, maybe you will. I'm sure you would do that actually.
Actually, me and my family have fond memories of playing Wheel of Fortune on the Sega Genesis.
Oh, okay.
Like it was great. My parents bought a Genesis and Wheel of Fortune like one random day, and they brought it home. And then like we just like played it all weekend, and it was just like so hard because like you had to when you're like you hit the button to solve the puzzle, you had to like use like the janky D-pad on the Genesis controller to type in the entire thing, and it was so hard. So like once you're like I'd like to solve the puzzle, it would be like 10 minutes before you were able to say it, and if you were wrong, you just wasted everyone's time. It was a lot of fun. I mean. So these kind of games can be fun with family, especially like people like parents who you need to introduce to games. Be like, hey, this is fun. All you have to do is hit A or whatever and answer the questions. So, all right. So that's just coming out this week. We'll see how that goes.
Nothing too exciting. I guess the order is exciting, but
yeah, the order is exciting, but my expectations were tempered by the slow story. And it's not even a week when Hyperdimension Neptunia 2 Rebirth isn't really Sister Generation is not released. So
what's gonna be great is when we keep doing this podcast and the next game comes around and we'll get to really say that as a release.
I feel like we'll have to buy it.
We should buy it and then we'll just stream it so everyone can see what it is.
That'll be the game that we make it big on.
Probably because who else is streaming that game? We're the only people in the market.
Yeah, it's true. We monopolize. That's a good point. All right, time for some news. Do you like news?
I like news indeed, Steve.
All right. Well, we kind of covered the first thing we plan on talking about. Just that the Order 1886. It's only like 5 hours long.
Yeah, and you know what's kind of interesting is since that has come out, a lot of journalists, game journalists, are saying they're all defending like, hey, a game doesn't need to be really long to be good, and which I believe that can be very true. It depends solely on how good the game is.
It's true. If those are the best 5 hours of my life, what the hell do I care if it's only 5 hours?
Yeah, like I mean, I'm a firm believer in that typical $1 for every hour you spend in the game.
You know what the best 5 hours of my life were?
What's that?
Playing Secret Ponchos with you.
The time of my life.
Let me tell you, dear listeners, let me tell you a story about Secret Ponchos, which is like a a top-down Western multiplayer shooter game. That's a category onto itself.
Yeah, there you go.
So me and Neil, we download this game, and we're like, it was a free PlayStation Plus game for December. We're like, yeah, let's see what happens. Like we didn't go into it expecting much. So we go in and we play like the first round just against each other, and we're like, oh, this is so stupid. So then we go and play online, and also we should probably put in this game's broken. Like it's so hard to play online.
So hard.
So we finally get into a game, and about 2 minutes into the game, I just blurt out to Neil, I'm having the time of my life. And ever since then, we've been trying to recapture the magic of Secret Ponchos. We haven't played it since, so obviously
it's if you can't get it for free, don't bother playing it.
It was a fleeting love.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to the order 1886. So it's short.
So it's short, and but the thing is, like I was saying, I consider like every dollar for an hour is a thought, but I'm not like strict gameplay. Like for me, if you were to play this game and like after it was done, like you do that thing where you sit and just stare at the credits, like, oh my god, that was amazing.
And then you usually like go right back in, like
you start up a new game, you go, I have to keep playing it. Even if you stop, you think about it.
Yeah, maybe even
a couple hours.
Maybe even New Game Plus.
Yeah, if there's any game that gets you to go online to some forums and start some argument with some random stranger, you know it's a good game.
You know it's a good game.
Because it's making you it's the extra mile.
Yeah, and I love going the extra mile.
But I don't think that's this game. I don't think it's gonna hold up. I think people are gonna get bored of it quickly. At least. I think the story, unless if it's, I don't know, I can't but the thing, and they're saying like they're making the best game possible, and the guy, I forgot if he was the director, he was some developer on the project, compared it to the Modern Warfare 3 campaign.
Yeah, I heard that too. He's saying, Modern Warfare 3, it's a short campaign, but he loved every minute of it, and he could see someone saying the same about this, but he's also the developer, so, obviously. Yeah,
so he's defending, and he makes sense. It's just, when it's such a short game, there's so much more riding on the experience. Like, if it's like, okay, the story is good, it's okay, but I'm really going to have fun with a multiplayer, then it's totally different, but...
So, alright, well, it's something to look out for. The review embargo is lifted 12 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, I saw. So you'll get some reviews out well before release day, so you'll have time to read them over and decide if you want to pick it up. All right, so Just Cause 3 trailer was released. Neil also had an epiphany that Just Cause is a double entendre for that he's fighting a just cause and that you can do everything in that game just cause. And it took him, this long. I believe Just Cause 1 came out close to 9 years ago. So it took him 9 years.
Well, it's just that much better now in my mind.
Yeah. It took the 3 to be on the end to be, oh, wait a second.
Wait a second. I can read this sentence in 2 ways.
I feel like I'm missing something. All right. So new trailer came out, and they say the release date is holiday 2015, which I believe is baloney. But
I do too.
Especially because that exact same team is making the Mad Max game that's currently going to be released.
Oh well, that's going to be a terrible game. So they're just going to push that aside and work on Just Cause 3.
Well, no, because then that Mad Max movie is coming out this year, so I feel like they want to release it a little before that, Yeah,
they're going to try to hit it right on when that movie comes out, which is why I think it's going to be rushed. I know they were smart, like they were working on it like ahead of time, like long enough, but I still think it's going to be rushed. I don't know. It could be fun. What if it's like an open world driving game? That would be awesome.
That would be fun. So we'll see. We'll see with Just Cause 3. I didn't watch the trailer. I know you did. Did you see anything other than the normal grapple hook into everything?
It's not at all what I thought. I would even call it a teaser. It's basically a lot of smoke and fire and like really good graphics. Really
smoke,
good graphics.
Fire. Okay.
And just literally it's open to like a Bond movie, like just a car driving through smoke.
Okay.
like a statue in the distance with fire burning, and then you just see like the statue in his eye, and then it like zooms out, and he's just like falling out of the sky.
You see Rico, that's his name.
Oh, is that his name? And you see him falling out of the sky, and he pulls out his wingsuit. It's like, Just Cause 3.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Just Cause 3.
So it wasn't even like it was an announcement trailer.
It's a teaser.
Teaser.
Yeah, it's an announcement of an announcement.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's just saying, hey, look, this exists. It's going to come out holiday 2015, which really means it's going to come out summer of 2016, probably.
No, I see it coming out around this time in 2016, February, I'd say.
Yeah, I feel like February is the day where every game is like, they leave it open to be pushed back to. Like all the holiday games just get pushed back to February. Evolve,
The Order, Bloodborne originally, but then they kicked that to March just to get it away from The Order a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see coming up. I liked Just Cause 2. It was a free game for PlayStation Plus. I downloaded it and had some fun, just, nonsense in it. So
didn't even download it when it was free.
So it's safe to say Neil's not looking forward to this.
Well, no, I hear really good things about it. You talk about it all the time and say how I should get it, but
yeah, it's fun. It's just actually Just Cause I bought on my PC because it was out for the Xbox, but it never came out for the PS3. I actually bought it to play on PC because I was like, this game looks ridiculous. Knowing nothing going in, and I did it, and it's fun. I mean, I never played the story in those games. I literally just go into it and screw around. So. Something to look forward to, I guess, for fans. It's going to include the multiplayer that someone modded into the second one, which seemed pretty fun. But that's cool. Yeah, but it kind of loses its luster because you can do Far Cry multiplayer, which I think is a better open world island game. You
don't think a multiplayer in Just Cause 3 would be amazing?
It would be fun, but when someone modded that in. It was 2 years ago, and everyone's like, "This is insane." But in a post GTA Online world, is that really that special anymore? You know what I mean?
I think if they really let you do whatever you want,
yeah,
I think it's going to be some pretty and crazy, incredible things. Somebody was I don't know if it was a developer or just a writer about it or whatever. They were saying that this is going to be the game that makes new YouTube channels. Because they're just going to do crazy things, record it, and upload it, and just get famous off of it.
Hey, maybe that'll be us.
Now we have to get it.
Okay, well, in that case, let's do it. Now the KGGs are looking forward to it. All right, moving on. This will be a quick hitter. Just a reminder, guys. Drive Club PS Plus Edition. It exists and it's not canceled. Somehow.
Does anyone care anymore?
No one cares. I want to play it just because, like I've said 1,000 times, my car is in the PS Plus edition, and I want to play as my car, which is so dumb because I own it, so I can actually drive the real version at any time. But
yeah, you can't crash the real version though.
Yeah, it's true, and I can't drive the real version at 200 miles an hour. So
allegedly.
Yeah, well, yes, allegedly. So I'm looking forward to it just to do that, but I'll probably download it, do that a couple of times, and never play it again. So
yeah, same here.
What else is new? Just a little reminder. Nothing.
We're just gonna every week we keep you updated on Drive Club status.
This week's Drive Club update. All right. So what do we got here? Sonic Boom. Let's talk about it.
Boom.
Boom.
So
I wanna have a little bit of a confession here, Neil. I'm just making fun of you because you didn't get Just Cause. I didn't realize that Sonic Boom was hey, the Sonic Boom.
He's going really fast and causes a Sonic Boom.
Yeah, yep. I just thought it was a random word.
It was just Sonic Boom.
Yep. Literally, that's what I thought up until about a week ago. When I heard the name, I'm like, oh yeah, when you break the sound barrier.
Oh, that makes so much sense now.
So anyway, this game sucks. Rise of Lyric and Shattered Crystal are not good. Together, they've sold less than 500,000 copies. The hardest I've laughed in the last half year is the thing I saw on Reddit. Allow me to tell you a story, Neil.
Okay, so, go ahead.
This guy is yeah, I work at an after school program for kids. And there's this one kid, he's really sweet kid, but he's got a mild form of autism. but he loves Sonic, and he just like being autistic, he has trouble communicating.
Yeah.
So he rarely speaks to the Guardian or whatever. So his Guardian, knows Sonic Boom's coming out, and the kid had it pre-ordered and paid off. So they go together to GameStop. They pick up the game, and they're playing it, and Sonic Boom. Not only is it a bad game, like it's so glitched. Like if you like jump in the air with Knuckles and then pause the game and unpause it, you just can float around the entire map however you want.
Oh my god.
So there's all these glitches happening, and the Guardian's like watching the kid play it, and he's like getting so upset because nothing's working. So then like the kid with autism like puts down the controller, and he looked at the Guardian and he goes, "This is the worst game I've ever played." And the Guardian's like, "I've never heard him say a complete sentence before. Sonic Boom was so bad it cured autism."
This is a miracle. That's oh my god.
I was laughing so hard, but the game is so broken, it's ridiculous. Like, I implore everyone to go out and watch some gameplay videos of just like the cutscenes, because like the voices like don't match up to the mouths, and they don't even try. Like throughout the cutscene, everybody's mouth is moving, whether they're talking or not. So like they're like, I guess everyone's just chewing gum while the other people are discussing.
There's a little tobacco or yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm gonna have to check it. I didn't know it was that bad. Yeah. I thought it was just like a boring bad game. I didn't know it was like broken.
No, it's like
and a mess.
It's like hysterically broken, like one of the worst games ever. So it's just funny. That's like a game, like when it gets in the bargain bin for $5, I'll just buy it just to like play it and just be like, wow, like this is one of the worst.
Like this is a game that was actually made.
Yeah, like that reminds me of the truck game that everyone talks about. I forget what that is. Like You Are a Winner, that one. You know the one I'm talking about? There's this PC truck racing game.
Oh wait, I've seen like
Big Rigs. That's the name of it.
That's it.
Where like you could just like go off into you go off the course and you just start flying in the air, and just when you finish the race, it goes, "You are a winner." That's a good game. Sonic Boom is the new Big Rigs.
There we go.
Yeah. So just a sales update that it still hasn't reached 500,000. They gotta do something with Sonic. I don't know what they're gonna do.
They just have to go back. They just have to go strictly mobile and just bank on it and just do a free game, which they do sometimes. And
they do. There's actually an endless runner Sonic game called Sonic Rush.
And I think it's really popular too.
Yeah, it is, and they probably made more on in-app purchases in that game than Sonic Boom.
Easily,
probably, definitely.
And then they have other apps. They have like all the good old-fashioned Sonic games on an app, and I even bought that. I spent $5. I hate spending any money on apps, even $1. I paid $5 to get it.
They were fun. Also, the weird thing about Sonic Boom is there's a cartoon on Cartoon Network that ties into the game, and the cartoon's really popular. It's doing extremely well, but the game that it ties into is awful. So maybe they'll make some money off that, and we'll see some new and inventive Sonic stuff, not just remaking the game to be edgy, which is what they did with Boom.
It's so edgy.
It's so edgy because they're all wearing scarves. That's basically what it is.
You're gonna give them glasses next.
Yeah, well, hipster Sonic. All right, so Shadow Realm was canceled, and for those of you who don't know, this is the BioWare game. I wasn't excited for it. So
from what I've read and heard, and knowing my own opinion, I don't even know what this game is. I heard a lot, I was reading on the internet, a lot of people oh, I forgot this existed. No one really seems to be that upset about it.
It was announced a while ago, never really showed anything, and just kind of get shooed off. And I hear basically the team that was making this is now making or helping to make Mass Effect 4. So I feel like that's one of those things where the company goes, well, we can take a risk, or we can just put our money towards the IP we know is going to get our profit. So
yeah, I wonder if it's the developers are crushed because they've been working on it for so long, or if it's they're so glad. Maybe it was going so badly. They're look, we need to end it.
I mean, I know. oh God, what's that developer? Blizzard. They just stepped away from the game.
Yeah, they did.
They were like, well, like we just like realized like this game isn't fun. Like this isn't what we were trying to do, and you just have to cut your losses and realize that you're better off just not releasing it than tarnishing your reputation and spurning, all those people that buy it. So
yeah, or be Sega and just release Sonic every year.
Not like that game isn't even close to working. All right, so yeah, I mean it's a shame it's canceled, but I'm sure more people were looking forward to Mass Effect 4 than they were looking forward to that Shadow Realm. Although we do need more new IPs, never can get enough.
That's true, and I also heard that they were just going to work on Mass Effect 4 and then DLC stuff for Dragon's Age Inquisition.
Okay, well,
so like it's two games that they know people love that they just like putting more resources into it.
Okay, let's get to the important news, Neil.
Okay,
a man has played 10,000 hours of Crusader Kings 2.
10,000 hours!
How does this make you feel?
They added it up. It's close to a year of game time.
A year?
A year! Literally, this guy spent a year of his life playing this game.
All right, so this came out February 14th, almost, 2012. It's a strategy game, and he spent a year playing it.
Wait, hold on. It's only been out for 2 years?
3 years. 3 years as of last
I thought this was going to be a game like 10 years old.
Nope. So
like the last...
So 1/3 of his time over the last 3 years has been played. Oh my God.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
This guy is...
Can
I see what this guy looks like? Is there a picture? I need to do this.
It's just like a robot. It's just like some smart kid in college just made like a robot to play a game, and he's just been playing it for like a year.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Have you ever loved a game as much as you love this guy loves Crusader Kings too?
Crusader 2 Kings is, and like it's not even a popular game. Like I didn't know about it until
I've never heard of the game before.
For people that don't know, and from what I looked up, it's basically like a strategy game, like Sid Meier kind of Civilization.
Let me. All right.
Or
I did
or Total War.
I did some quick math for you here. In order to get 10,000 hours, right? He would have to average 10 hours a day since launch.
That's insane. They say
10 hours a day. That's more than I spend at my full-time job.
His full-time job is just
playing
doing this.
Crusader Kings 2.
I guess. Maybe he's like a telemarketer and he just plays this as he's like answering questions on a phone.
Does he do anything? So, all right, let's say he's like a typical neckbeard nerd and he only sleeps like 4 hours, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So he's sleeping 4 hours because he games to all hours of the night. Probably he's hopped up on Mountain Dew and Red Bull. So 4 hours of sleep, 10 hours of Crusader Kings 2. What is he doing with the other 10 hours of his life? Jerking off?
That's during Crusader Kings. That's when he wins a battle.
It's true. It's a long stroke the entire time. I mean, like, there's so much more productive things someone could do.
I don't know. And they admitted to a lot of it is standby time. Like he would just leave his computer running.
Who cares? Still.
And like the best thing is when the way I saw this, I can't remember the site. I guess I should remember the site, but they put up reviews on Steam.
Yeah.
And people would be like, "Oh, I didn't play that much of this game." It's like, okay, and they'd have the time logged in. It would be like 58 hours. It would be like 58 hours or like 200 hours. Oh, I play like a little bit. I guess it could be okay. This guy's got like 10,000 hours. I don't understand. I can't imagine that.
I guess he got his money's worth. That's all I can say.
Talking about
you were talking about hours per dollar before. This guy's made money apparently.
This is the kind of thing when you're like, oh, if you can only have one thing on a deserted island for the rest of your life. This guy like, oh, Crusader Kings 2, man. I got it.
Or like food or like a supermodel for me to have sex with. This guy's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna put all my eggs in the Kings 2 basket.
Just live life through being a Crusader King or Kings of the Crusades 2.
Well, may this man may God have mercy on his soul. Is all I have to say. For God's sake. People like this get me so angry. Like, where's his income coming from where he could spend 10 hours a day doing this?
He must single-handedly be like
the biggest loser in the world. Yes, Neil, he must.
I was gonna say he's probably the happiest. The developers are like this guy is making the developers so happy.
Yeah.
Like everyone else, they probably can because they charted the statistics. They're the ones who released it. They're like,
They
oh,
could be, honestly, like if they're like, all right, what's our play base? So like if we released a $5 DLC, how much money would we make from it? Like maybe 10,000. If they released a single piece of DLC and we're like, yeah, let's just charge $15,000 for it because we know that one guy will buy it and we'll make money than we were if we put it at $5. Because that guy would do it. He'd be like, oh, DLC?
you're like, wait, there's something new I can do?
Yeah, $15,000, whatever, man. That's at least another 10,000 hours. Think about that.
I thought it was like a 20-year-old game, and he just like loved it a lot. I didn't know it was like 3 years. No,
I feel guilty because I played Borderlands 2 for close to 200 hours, and apparently, I don't have a problem at all. I'm in the norm here.
Yeah, you're way below the average apparently for gaming hours.
All right, well, whatever. That guy sucks. I have two people he can meet. The Tetris Grandmaster. And the losers that completed the gun raid without shooting. All right, so how do you pronounce that, Neil?
I have no idea how to pronounce it, especially since I spelled it wrong, so that doesn't help either.
that Moiline guy. He's the one who keeps spurning all the gamers. So pretty much, like, this guy lies. Is the gist of it with his new game Goddess. Which I actually played. I actually downloaded it, like not knowing it was his game. I think it's Moylan new now that I think about it. But anyway, and like he's like, oh, like this game's gonna be fantastic. You'll be able to do this, and it just doesn't ever.
And the worst part is it's not. It was a Kickstarter. He didn't take a publisher's money and waste it. He took people's money who gave it to him.
And he did this with Fable 1. He also made. He did this game Black and White, which I actually played because I was like, "Oh, that game looks awesome," and it wasn't. It was just like it's a god sim, and basically it was like Goddess. And he's just like, "Oh, you'll be able to do this," and the AI is so smart they'll be able to like find fire by themselves and like take the fire and do stuff with it. They didn't do any of that shit. The guy just lies. Like, how is someone who just continually lies about games still in the industry? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. It's he's not going to be for much longer if this keeps going. And it's there's one thing of overpromising and be like, look, we're sorry, but like they weren't even working for you. Like he said in an interview, and he was quoted that he wasn't working for half of the Kickstarter goals. Like he was just ignoring some of them, which you can't do. You can't be like,
no.
I'm giving you money for this. And like
Kickstarter needs to step in.
And Kickstarter has a lot of issues with it. People are starting to learn that like what's happening with Project Morpheus or whatever, the VR, that like some big company can just come and buy it, and all the people are just like they don't get their goals. Like they'll get their money back, but in this case, I don't think they are getting their money back.
What about Star Citizen, which is like the most expensive video game ever made, and it hasn't even been released yet?
Yeah, like I don't know. It's giving someone. It's literally a promise. It's like, look, I promise I will do this. Okay, here, take my money.
And people suck, so they obviously aren't going to keep up with their promises.
Yeah, and it's like I mean, this guy. I'm not defining this guy, but there are other people that like explain it, and they go like, we sat down for like a week planning it, and then there's just other factors come in that we had no idea, and we're like, and what you're supposed to do, and what some developers do is they, yeah. As soon as I sound like he's gonna laugh.
Doo-doo!
So what you got to do is they like do weekly updates. Yeah. And they like always tell people, look, we're working on this, we're a little behind in this, and they're just honest about it. And people are like, okay, we understand. But if you go silent for months and then you go, oh yeah, we're not going to do your thing anymore, people get really mad about it.
Well, this guy's got an issue, pretty much, and I'd love to discuss it with you, but we got to move on because we have more important things to talk about than guys who don't keep promises, right, Neil? Oh
yeah, like this next big crazy topic we got.
So Titanfall 2 might not be an Xbox exclusive, apparently, and I don't think anyone's surprised.
Nope.
That was the feeling that everyone got. That first of all, Titanfall 1 is pretty much like half of the game, really. It's got no campaign. It has like 4 modes or whatever. So it was kind of like a playtest. You know what I mean? Like a $60 playtest. But it came out at the perfect time when nothing else was out on the Xbox One, so everyone bought it. You know?
Yeah,
And
go on.
that game's player base just like fell apart once other stuff came out. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean that's exactly what you're saying, and that is the time for new IPs because there's nothing out. Like that's how Assassin's Creed got started.
Yep.
It was the first, really one of the only games on PS3. Like that's when you have to get your game out there. And Titanfall, like it looks fun. I've never played it. It does look fun. It looks like they should secure like this. Like, look, people like this game. We just need to do more in it, and then people will like it even more. It just needs to be able to more substantial, and it will hold people longer. But it was a game people played because they had nothing else. And then something else came out, and they were like, okay, well, I'm going to move on to that. And maybe they pop in now and then for a round, but it's not competing against Halo. It can't compete against Call of Duty. It's not up there at that level.
Mm-hmm. So, I heard that the game was fun, but it just like got old fast, basically. So
yeah, I think they didn't have enough customization.
Content, and like there's only like 2 kinds of each gun. Like there's like 2 assault rifles or 2.
Yeah,
pistols.
and there's like
plus it had a pistol that automatically gave you headshots.
I was about to that's the most upsetting thing. Like I would understand that for the first like 3 levels, then you lose it because you're like you get late leveling whatever. But I was gonna say is the Titans. I think they only had like 3 kinds of Titans. They should have.
I heard in that game like everyone loved that game, like the people that played it. But then they're like, I don't like fighting the Titans. So like, at that point, you're basically just playing Call of Duty. So
yeah, it's a game that it has potential. It had potential. They proved that it has even more potential, and that it is a fun game when it works. But they just need to do a lot more with it. They need a campaign. They need a single player campaign. As much as people say that doesn't matter, it really does. It gives people that they should do a co-op. I mean, every game should have co-op, but it would be really fun if you're like, look, just even a horde mode. Like, look,
they did add a horde mode as DLC.
Okay, so yeah, so like that's what I think they have to do. Like more content basically, and I think it will do well. Because from what I heard and what I read and stuff is like the gameplay mechanics were there. It was a fun game to play.
It was just bare bones.
Yeah, exactly.
So they have some time on this one. It'll be interesting because we know what an Xbox is, so we'll have an opportunity probably to play this one. So
yeah, I can see us playing it if it comes out for the PS4.
Yeah,
it seems like our kind of game.
I like shooters.
They're fun.
All right. So that's it for the news. A lot of news this week. Nothing really substantial. Just a lot
of news that's not really that important.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Neil. Let me tell you, Neil. I've been playing Majora's Mask.
Oh,
I got my new 3DS on Friday. This is my new Nintendo 3DS XL, if I want to use the exact
such
words.
A dumb name. They're so bad at naming things.
Shh. Let me tell my story.
Go on.
So I went to Target at 7 because I was trying to get the Majora's Mask edition, which is an hour before it opens. And I get there and I'm 6th in line. And then the guy comes out and he goes, "We got 5 Majora's Mask editions." So I was like, fuck.
That's the worst.
Mm-hmm. And it's freezing. So the only good thing is, with about a half an hour to go, they did just start a ticket system. So I was like, well, I'm here. I might as well just get one of the other ones because they're going to be hard to find for a couple months anyway. So I got a black one. And I did my transfer, which everyone was really afraid about doing the transfer. It went seamlessly. It took me like 2 seconds. And most importantly, I sold my old XL to Neil, so he'll be joining the 3DS bandwagon. I gave him a huge list of games for him to play. I think you're starting with Majora's Mask, right?
I think A Link Between Worlds.
Oh, Link Between Worlds. Yes, true. That game's great.
So when Steve was waiting in line, not while he was waiting in line, after he waited in line and he got back to work and he was like, oh, they were sold out. I was 6th in line. He told me the story. I looked on Target and they said they had it in stock. So Steve was like, all right, you have to buy this. And he was like calling me bad names and saying mean things to me because I was about to buy the thing he really wanted and I didn't care about it at all, but I planned on just selling it. And then, of course, like we both kind of knew that they were going to cancel my order, which they did. They canceled it the next day. They did send me a gift card. Apparently, Best Buy, the same thing happened.
Yeah, and they're giving games.
They're also giving a $40 gift card.
Yeah.
So I should have went to Best Buy apparently, and not Target.
Yeah. Exactly. I should have done it on Best Buy. It's free $40 gift cards.
Yeah. So I got so hyped about it, and I've never
Yeah.
been Nintendo. Listen to any of these podcasts, listen to any of our streams. I'm
I
not a
think you're
Nintendo person.
interested in the games. You're just not head over heels for them, you know?
Yeah,
Like, there's stuff that you want to play. Like, you are a Zelda fan.
yeah, absolutely, and that's like I did say that like eventually I planned on getting one
Yeah.
because there were games I wanted to play, but it was never the right price at the right time. And
Mhm.
everything just like I got really excited about it. I really want to get it. You had it
Oh,
when you were
yeah.
selling it, so it
And
all
what
just kind
happened
of
was
lined up.
you ordered a game and then like that went through and then your 3DS got canceled. At that point, you know, you're like, you know what, maybe this is the sign that it's time. So
I was literally at work buying a 3DS, and then after I bought it, I'm like, I need a game. I need to buy a game. I don't even have the system yet. I need a game. And
yeah,
there was a good deal with Link Between Worlds, and so
which
I
is
got
an awesome game. Like you're absolutely gonna love that game.
yeah,
But
and it's a game I've wanted to play. So
yeah, back to Majora's Mask because it's what I'm playing. I never played it when it was first released, and I'm absolutely loving it. I just finished the Forest Temple. Um, found all the fairies in there just literally minutes before me and Neil went live here. Uh, so I'm loving
delaying
it.
us.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I did delay us. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's so much fun just because like it's Zelda, but it's not because it's not the typical formula. It just feels different. I'm interested in all like the side stories and quests and stuff, and I'm actually kind of glad that I didn't play it when I was younger because like when I was younger, this game would have went completely over my head. You know, like I really wouldn't have understood what's going on. But now, like you know, I'm playing it now and I understand the whole system of slowing down time and playing the songs and all that, and I'm enjoying it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
So
I did play it when it came out. I played
yeah,
the first game I ever played, like that I can really remember by myself and beat was Ocarina of Time.
okay,
So that's why I'm always biased towards that. I mean, like I
but
get that.
that's a more straightforward game.
And like I really like the Zelda formula. I really like that whole adventure. Like you start as this one guy that means nothing. You work your way, you get all these items, you become this really huge person. I mean, no one
Yeah.
knows about you, but you're like you take on this whole quest. Majora's Mask is kind of the same thing, but there's a lot more character interaction, so it's really
Yeah.
interesting. There's a lot more NPCs, and like based off what mask you're wearing, they'll say different things to you. And it's like it's really different, which is why people like it so much. And I did. It was the second one I played, and when I played it, I really wanted it to be like a sequel to Ocarina of Time. And even though it technically is, you wouldn't even call it that if it wasn't for the same like graphics and character. You know what I mean? Like it's that different.
Yeah, and I'm liking the fact it's different. So
Yeah, I mean that's why it's kind of cool. It's kind of smart of them too. I don't think they planned it like this, but like people are always talking about the Zelda formula. It's like wearing down or whatever, and they kind of changed it up with A Link Between Worlds, and they just re-released this game, and it's almost saying like, "Hey, look, we do change it up. We have before. You hated this game when it came, not hated, but you after Ocarina of Time, you didn't appreciate it enough, and now everyone loves it. Like, I love when old games are good games, but they just at the time they come out, they're not appreciated as they should be, and then they come out later, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, this game is actually amazing! I can't believe it was getting shit on so much."
well, it looks. I mean, it's fun. It looks great on the system too. And you know, you bring up a good point how they're changing the system or whatever. I'd be interested to see what they do with the Wii U one that's supposedly coming out this year, to see how they start to differ that. So it'll be fun to see.
That's going to be the game. If that comes out, I will probably buy a Wii U for it.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's coming out. It just is a matter of when.
Yeah, I mean, like that's when, like if it comes out this year, I'll God, I'm gonna become a Nintendo person.
Two Nintendo consoles in 1 year.
It's gonna be really upsetting.
Other than that, other than Majora's Mask, I did buy my first ever Steam early access game called Besiege last week, and I played it a little bit. I'm planning on playing it again. It's pretty cool. It's like you make a bunch of like siege weapons. It's physics based pretty much, and like
okay.
They just like give you like all these like here's cross members, here's you know, blades, here's wheels and all that stuff, and you literally like put together a siege weapon like a trebuchet or whatever. You design it and then you hit play and like it just like drops it down and like there's levels you go through. So like like this one destroy the village, or this one take out all the archers. So like you make a machine to do that. And I've been enjoying it. It's fun. The engineer in me really enjoys it. It also has just like a free mode where you could just like take like make this huge thing and just like do everything. So like I was fooling around and I made a big like trebuchet that was like shooting arrows out of its side with all these like mechanisms and gearings and stuff. It's fun. It was $7, so if you like tinkering around with stuff, I'd say yes, do it. And it's got a really cool graphical style too. It's very hard to explain. It's like minimalistic, but everything's very detailed. But like the world itself is it's either bright color or flat white, so it's cool looking.
Yeah, I've seen gameplay of it, and the only gameplay I've seen is people just making really inappropriate.
Oh yeah. I've seen that gameplay too.
It's so great. Like I had no idea what the game was. I saw it. It's just like these giant machine people in like different sex positions, and it was just like I was like, "What is this game?" But
it's now,
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a cross between like Minecraft and Gary's Mod. Like it's that kind of thing. Like you're saying, tinkering.
Pretty much, just tinkering around.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's cool. And so I know you've been playing Evolve. So how's that going?
So Evolve is a game that me and Steve said we were going to get upon the first time the trailer came out, and then last minute, Steve was like, got a little cold feet, and he didn't want to get it anymore.
Yep, which turns out maybe to be a good idea.
Maybe. I can't decide yet. It's very hard. So I got Evolve. I was going to get it no matter what. I really wanted to play it. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. And then there are some games when I absolutely hate it. And it's so hit or miss. And it's the kind of game like Left 4 Dead. It's all co-op. It's 4 people versus 1 person. There is a regular co-op where you can do 4 people versus a computer monster, which I think would be really cool. Because then it's you're not like that human. I don't know. It would be a different experience.
Yeah.
And so if you have even one person that doesn't know what they're doing,
the game's ruined.
The entire game's ruined. If one person doesn't know how to play the game, it becomes just a hide and seek the entire time. Like that's when you see the people like, oh, I run around for 10 minutes, I can't find the monster. That's because one person on the team is holding everyone back because they'll get caught in a plant trap. You have to stop and save them. You have to heal them. They fall down a cliff and they happen to be the assault guy, so you have to wait for them to get above the cliff. Mm-hmm. So then that's all it takes. But if everyone's working and it doesn't like you're supposed to have a mic, but it amazes me at how bad the quality on people's mics are.
Yeah.
Like it's shocked. Like they'll just.
Well, you also have terrible internet, so it could be on your side too.
Yeah, but that's true. But I will automatically mute someone if there's a baby crying in the background.
Oh well, duh.
If they're arguing with whatever girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse is going on, they're just like shouting about the TV being on, whatever. If they're blasting music, if they're singing along to that music, if they're just reading all the subtitles, and so when that happens, I'll immediately just mute them. And if they know what they're doing, you don't need to talk at all. And I've been with teams that are really good. And once we get to the monster, we just like it's a really fun game. It's a good fighting. Like the fights don't always last 2 seconds, and it can be like very intense. Like you spot the monster in the distance, and you can like mark them, kind of like Last of Us or whatever. Like you put points, so people like. You'll put like a point, it's like, oh, that means a direction, and like it's kind of an unofficial thing becoming. If you put 1 point, it means go in that direction. But then someone will spam like 5 times. You'll just get like a lot of dots showing up. It's like, all right, clearly the monster is right there. He's about to kill the guy. He's just spamming. And so it's like it's so hit or miss, and it's all based on teamwork. Mm-hmm. And that's why it would be fun if you have friends, if you have like 3 other people to play it with. Absolutely get the game. It's a little repetitive, but they do have. More modes. There is like you have to destroy eggs and the monster has to defend the eggs. There's generators you have to defend as the monster destroys them. The monster can get minions that you have to kill as he's fighting too. So like it's not all just hunt him down, and that's not the only thing. So there is a lot of gameplay. Not a lot of gameplay. There is more gameplay than just the one option that it's known for. Mm-hmm. But my issue is I feel I am going to get burned out of it eventually because even though there are like you unlock more characters and stuff, and they have different abilities, and a lot of times they're very different. It's going to be one of those things where it's like, I'm going to play it, I'm going to do like a round, and I'm gonna be like, all right, this one guy over here stuck in the corner or doesn't know how to use a jetpack properly. I know this game is already a waste. Like it's that quick. Like I've gone into a game before, and this guy just died by like there was this random dog, and he just like died immediately. And then another person didn't know how to like heal him. Like he just couldn't figure it out for whatever reason. Like he never played a game before. And I was like, all right, there's just no chance that we're gonna get the monster. So it's from the very beginning. You can almost always tell it was gonna be a good round or not. And so it's so hit or miss. It's hard to recommend it unless if you have friends you're gonna play with.
Well, I mean, I might pick it up eventually, but as of now, I don't think so. So.
Yeah, I concur with that. It's kind of, I don't know. That's why it's because I don't want to say it's a bad game, but it's a different game, and because it's different, you have to head into it knowing that, and you can't think of it like I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play a 10-hour story, and then there's a multiplayer after. It's like no, you're going to play one of 3 multiplayer rounds over and over and over again. And while it's kind of it's almost like a sports game, where like FIFA, like yeah, you're playing soccer over and over, but there's little differences. It's kind of like that. Like you're hunting the same monster. But the last time the guy liked to use fire breath and like hide, and this other guy will try to sneak around and sneak up behind you like that. It's actually you'll hear the monster without seeing it, and it like the whole like the controller shakes and like it gets really loud, and you know it's like near you somewhere, and so it's like tense and it's terrifying. It's really fun, but then it's also can just be so annoying, and it's all based on how good your team is. But I mean. I'm still enjoying it so far. I just don't know if I'm going to sell it yet.
Well, we'll see. It's got potential, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's got enough DLCs to keep it busy for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe if I get it,
it would be fun if you let's say you did get it. We would definitely play it a lot more. But I think at the same time, it would only hold us over until the next game came out, and then I think we'd cast it aside for a while.
Well, I'm in for that.
Yeah, I mean, unlike Last of Us, we literally keep going back to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I love that.
That in Call of Duty. Like, this is not... I can't see that being this kind of game. You're going to play it for a while, and then you might put it aside, and maybe a long time from now, you'll bring it out, like, oh, I got some buddies coming over. Well, actually, it's not local co-op.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying.
Do I, though?
I have no idea at this point. I've ranted about Evolve long enough.
I don't know, Neil. Maybe one day. So, all right. Well, I think we've gone long. We've gone pretty long. This might be the longest.
This is the longest. I believe we're about 15 minutes over right now.
A couple long guys. All right, guys. So, everyone that's out there, thanks for joining us for the 4th ever Qualified Gamer Guys podcast. Just so you know, if you like the opening jingle, head over to www.soundcloud.com/gearheadedm for more music like that. That's our friend. He also made our logo, so he's multi-talented. You can follow us on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/qualifiedgamerguys. You can follow us on Twitter at www.twitter.com/qualifiedggs. All these links will be in the description. You can subscribe to our YouTube. You're here. You found it. So Neil loves when I do that. So I did it every time.
Do it every time.
So just hit the subscribe button. You'll keep aware of when we post videos, and you can listen to the podcast when it posts every Tuesday. So am I missing anything, Neil? The YouTube, the Twitch, the Twitter.
I think you got it, man. Take us away.
The blog?
Oh, we do have a blog. I didn't update it last time with the last podcast. We don't have podcast 3 up there, Steve. How are people listening to it?
They can't go out of order, Neil. So thanks for joining us today. We'll be back next week with an episode of the Qualified Gamer Guys podcast. We'll be around on Twitch this week. Probably streaming something. I don't know. Maybe stream.
I'll probably do some Evolve. I want to.
Yeah, I'm playing Majora's Mask, so I can't really stream that.
Yeah, you can't really stream. I want to play.
If you follow us on Twitter, you can keep along with my my tweets there. I had a funny tweet on our Twitter about the cover of the game last Friday, so go check that out if you haven't seen it. Especially you, Neil. I don't know if you saw that one.
Was that the? I don't want to say because I think I know what it is. I don't want to ruin the surprise.
You don't want to ruin it. Yeah. So, yeah, so thanks for joining us, guys. Have fun watching us and listening to this, and we really appreciate
you have fun.
Have
This
fun,
was I
guys.
hope you had fun listening to this. Not you have
And
fun as you
this is just time to wrap it up, fly it out, and get it out of here. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday on Qualified Gamer Guys podcast.
totally thought you were going to say qualifiedgamerguys.com.